Mindset. Agency Spark CEO Joe Kaufman, and every week we talk about various topics important to marketers like you. Topics have ranged from brand storytelling to tips on being more creative to simplistic marketing or even simplicity in marketing to being a more empathetic marketer and building great teams. And so you can see past episodes of the Marketing Mindset by going to agencysparks.com/marketing mindset. Or you can read about the topics that we cover in these by going to agencysparks.com/blog archives. So today we're going to talk about social media and the different platforms. And this is something that's obviously near and dear to our hearts here at Agency Sparks, but also marketers everywhere have embraced social media as an important part of the tool belt to, reach their target audience and build relationship with them. So now that we're in the digital age and we all rely on social media as a source of news and connection and content sharing, and social media is attractive for businesses for a couple of reasons. It's definitely widely popular among consumers, and there's a relatively low barrier to entry to get involved in social media. So, though most social media platforms have existed for years, some companies haven't really leveraged their full potential. And also, not all types of social media are perfect fit for every single business. Sometimes a company should not be represented on every platform. And the other thing is, at the end of the day, every company is different and they all have different reasons for being involved in social media. So, to help figure this out, I've got a couple of questions that you should be asking your business. Number one is your brand joining social media with a driven purpose or just for the sake of being socially active? Number two, what is the goal behind each platform or each post that you make? Number three, is it the goal to build brand awareness or is it to generate leads? And is the purpose for your brand's presence on social to increase sales or leverage advertising capabilities or share content? And then the last thing is, who is the target audience and which social platforms are best to reach that target audience? So now that you have a better idea of your company's purpose, hopefully, and you've thought through why you would use social media, we're going to talk a little bit more about sort of 4 steps to align the platforms with your goals and your objectives. So the 4 things that I'll go into a little more detail about are outlining your company objectives, defining the target audience, cross-checking to see what the competitors are doing, and then monitoring and measuring continuously your activity. And by the way, social media agencies will go into far more detail about each of these things for you. Certainly, if you're interested in hiring a social media agency to help with some of these things, then talk to us at Agency Sparks. It's what we do. We can help connect you. But the first step that we talked about was outlining your company objectives. And part of that is you should really have a good understanding of your company's mission, and you should analyze each social property to understand which ones are the best fit for your particular brand. Outlining the objectives from the beginning ensures that you don't waste any time or energy. And defining a clear brand voice will help you when you're creating content for the social properties. And depending on the specific channel and the situation, your brand can develop different tones of voice. Also, no matter what, always you have to be authentic to your brand. You also want to use social media to facilitate a two-way discussion and make sure that it's not just seen as a broadcast medium. A lot of public relations firms, I feel, tend to think of social media as more of a broadcast medium and remember that it's a two-way dialogue. And then social media allows you to kind of transform and nurture those weak connections into potential loyal followers. And if the goal for social media is to increase subscriptions or interactions and engagement, then the content creation and conversation can lead to more awareness, which then would increase your engagement. So the second step is defining your target audience. A platform tools help social media managers narrow their target audience into specific demographics. So characteristics like age and gender and income, but also even harder to find variables such as their interests in different topics or values or even fears. You can learn a lot of these things by using the tools that are native in each platform. And this will help you empathize as a marketer with your audience and cater the right kind of content to that audience. And the more relatable your content is, the more likely that customers will share your content to their friends and families. And then the other piece is knowing that where your target market exists and then only focusing on those networks, i.e. you got to fish where the fish are. And then the third thing is cross-checking with the competition and seeing what your competitors are doing. It's most likely that your competitors already have a presence on the social networks, and there's some great tools to monitor their activity, as well as search engine optimization and keywords and content. Leverage what's working well for the competitors in order to move your brand and approach to your current strategy. The fourth thing is monitoring and measuring continuously. So focus on leveraging the platforms that provide direct ROI for you, and use the reporting that's native in the platform. Very powerful reporting. If time and money and effort is poured into underperforming platforms or campaigns, then your audience may not exist there, then it's time to refocus what you're doing. Also, choosing not to spend money on social platforms can be tempting because, as we mentioned, the barrier to entry to get involved in social can be very low. But just because a platform is cheap or free doesn't mean that it will work well for you without any investment. Today, it's almost impossible to really reach your audience just through organic posts. Unless you boost a post, you probably won't. It's like a tree falls in the woods and doesn't get heard. Make sure that you become familiar with the different social media platforms and which ones you might want to utilize. And then the other thing is that because they're all vary quite differently, it's important to capitalize on the one that highlights your strengths and audience and your goals for the brand. So I'm going to highlight a couple of them here. These are ones that we here at Agency Sparks are utilizing quite a bit. Obviously, the 9,000-pound gorilla is Facebook, with 2 billion monthly active users and a mission to connect everybody around the world. Facebook is by far the largest platform. As you may know, Facebook is really beneficial for business as well. It offers the ability to do live streaming of video, kind of like we're doing today. You can include photos and texts, and they don't have character limits like some of the other ones do. They actually favor live streaming videos over other kinds of content, which increases your impressions and your engagement. And then the other thing is that most brands will build a page on Facebook, like a company page, as a way to kind of build a community around the brand. And as mentioned, without paid boosts, the organic reach is very limited for Facebook. The next one I want to talk about is Twitter. Twitter is the best platform to kind of spread your word quickly. And the challenge is that there's a lot of noise on Twitter, and it's hard to rise above the noise. So a couple of quick tips for Twitter. I would say answer concerns and questions directly and inform your consumer about things in the market or product releases and industry trends and things like that. Following thought leaders and their ideal audiences for networking opportunities, and kind of keeping an eye on the competitors. And then always including links and photos and GIFs and videos and text that would be interesting to your audience. Images perform really, really well on Twitter. And so make sure to include an image with every post. And then also hashtags, obviously following hashtags that are relevant to your business or creating hashtags that your consumers can connect with. Instagram is owned by Facebook. And actually, there's a stat that we found that 55%, people retain 55% more information from visual photos than from a text source. And so Instagram is probably the most visual of all the platforms. And artistic brands typically excel on Instagram. It's not that to say that you can't excel by not being very artistic, but certainly the more visually appealing you can make your posts, it makes a big difference in Instagram. Also, taking advantage of video on the Instagram platform is a great way to engage your audience. So posting high quality photos, utilizing brand building connections with followers, emphasizing your culture, events, giveaways, etc. Offering specific look, lifestyle, and activity, always have your brand's aesthetic in mind, and then targeting the audience, particularly younger audiences. The last one I want to talk about is LinkedIn. LinkedIn helps professionals connect and network. And in some recent research by a company DMR, 59% of LinkedIn users don't visit Twitter and 13% don't use Facebook, meaning LinkedIn is huge for the kind of an untapped market. LinkedIn is a great place for you to talk about things happening within the company, especially for B2B organizations who struggle with other types of social media. People typically have a business mentality when they're using LinkedIn, and therefore users are engaging in business kind of stuff. Sharing white papers, ebooks, videos, case studies, etc., is a good way to engage on LinkedIn. So we discuss a lot of tools that you can use to leverage social media better in our marketers toolbox. They can help you craft your social media strategy. I would encourage you to go to agencysparks.com/marketers toolbox to see some of our past marketers toolbox. We even have a category that's specific to social media tools. So go check that out. You can subscribe to the marketers toolbox there. Ultimately, there's no one-size-fits-all strategy when it comes to social media. You got to continue to measure and be creative and act authentically, provide value, and form connections. These are all things that we've talked about in past marketing mindsets. So keep those all in mind as you're dealing with social media. That's it for this week. Want to remind you that you can see past episodes of the Marketing Mindset by going to agencysparks.com/marketing mindset. Also, if you go to our blog archives section of the website, you can see a lot of the topics that we're talking about during the Marketing Mindset. Like, for example, today's blog talks all about these social media platforms and how businesses can leverage them. So if there's a topic you want to see us cover, make sure to let us know, and we'll try to cover that in the future. And thanks for tuning in again.